And then that moves us on to our most improved player predictions.
Yeah, you've been waiting for this one.
Yeah, bro. Again, this is probably, I think, this is the hardest award to predict.
It is the hardest award because it's the problem with the most improved player award is that we don't really know who's gonna take that leap or how significant of a leap is it gonna be, because again, you can take one or two steps up in your game, but if the other player candidates take like 5, then you're not gonna be a candidate. So it's hard to kind of predict who's gonna take a bigger leap than somebody else.
Yeah, again, it's based on, there's no absolute way to know how good a player is going to be from year to year. You know, like when we're talking about most improved award, like the guy that comes off the top of my head where he came out of nowhere and established himself as a great player in the league was CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
Right? He was doing nothing. And then randomly one year he got the most improved player award. And then since then he's been one of the best scorers in the league. Right? So stuff like that happens for the MIP award. And that's why it's the hardest award to predict. So our first candidate is my guy, Christian Wood, who I called he would be great after what I saw from him last season in Detroit. Detroit definitely messed up. I know every Pistons fan that I've seen has been crying over Christian Wood, rightfully so, because Detroit's front office has no idea what they're doing. We already ripped them apart in our Detroit Pistons offseason episode. But yeah, my guy Christian Wood, he signed a 3-year, $41 million contract with the Houston Rockets. I thought this is a great opportunity as well with him. You know, if James Harden stays, he's going to have a facilitator from James Harden, a great pick and roll passer. And if James Harden doesn't, he still has a guy like John Wall to help him out. Overall, Christian Wood, I think his play style is very Anthony Davis-esque. Now, I'm not saying he's Anthony Davis, obviously, but his play style is very similar to Anthony Davis in the fact that they can do everything on the court. They have a great mid-range game. They're very mobile for big men. I think he has all the tools to be great, maybe even be a possible all-star candidate down the road. Yeah, I'm very high on Christian Wood, bro. He's definitely one of my favorite players already.
If y'all been listening for a while, you know Christian Wood's Zishan's guy.
Bro, he's my guy.
He's Zishan's guy. But you know what? Rightfully so. He's played very well. I wasn't too high on him when he was with Detroit because I'm like, you're with the Pistons. You know, there isn't really a ton I can see. But at least seeing him in Houston playing with James Harden, the guy's a beast, man. Like
he's a beast.
Like
bro.
Honestly, for the price that Houston was able to sign him for, that's a steal of a price to get a player of that caliber. He's playing well, man, and like he's taking that next level. He's building off what he did last year with Detroit, and he's taking it to a next level, man. And like you said, even if James Harden does in fact get traded, you still got a guy like John Wall who's going to get you the ball, who loves to run the pick and roll. And Christian Wood is just that type of mobile center who will roll to the rim, can spread the floor, and can play some defense. He can play defense, man.
Yeah. Can do everything.
So Christian Wood is definitely in contention for most improved player award. The next player is Collin Sexton. Collin Sexton has had, he's been stuck in Cleveland for the start of his career, so obviously it hasn't been the greatest start to his NBA career. But he's showing flashes, man. Like he's not as horrible as I think people would anticipate.
The first season was rough. I will say that. But last season was where he really, I think, stepped up and showed a lot of people of what he could possibly be. His ceiling obviously was a guy that, could be one of the best scoring guards in the league. But his floor was also, a guy that would not be great at anything. His athleticism wouldn't translate to the NBA. And he just wouldn't overall be great. But he's showing more of, his level towards his ceiling rather than his floor. Last year he averaged, what did he average last year? Like 20...
Close to 20 points a game.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's a bad Cleveland team, no doubt. But, they've had a great start to the season. And him and Darius Garland, even though a lot of people had their doubts, me included, they've looked good, bro. Like, they've been a decent fit together. Obviously, it's not going to be seamless fit with two smaller guards. But he's been very good last year, and then he's translating it over to this year as well.
In 4 games so far this season, he's averaging 25 points a game and about 4 assists. Now, obviously, the assists, that was the thing with Collin Sexton. He wasn't really a playmaker.
And that's
why you dropped Darius Garland, who is a playmaker. So, Cleveland isn't entirely hopeless, but they're still bad. But
the main thing is with him and Garland, obviously the fit is not perfect, right? But
bro, you don't like Sexland?
Yeah, that's probably one of the greatest nicknames ever, bro. Real talk. But in terms of what they do have, I think they've done as well as anybody could have expected given their situation, right? So I think Collin Sexton is definitely one, and Cleveland fans are very high on Collin Sexton, which shows you if you're able to endear yourself to a fan base like that, you have a bright future, I think.
It also shows when an organization is patient and giving players the opportunity to grow, they can blossom. Like, perfect example, Brandon Ingram. You gave the guy some time, and now he's an all-star.
I think Cleveland, for them, it was kind of out of necessity because they had nothing else to do. But, hey, after that rough rookie season, a lot of people were like, yo, Collin Sexton's garbage, blah, blah, blah. But they gave him time to develop, and he's developed into something very good for them. Yeah. Unlike, other teams in the bottom of the East who reside in New York State who don't give any time for their players to develop, right?
Yeah.
So Collin Sextons are one of our candidates. And then our final candidate is Markelle Fultz. I think this is someone who you were very high on as well.
I'm very high on Markelle Fultz.
I think he looks great, man. He's had a great story for him, especially last year where he's pretty much dumped onto the Orlando Magic. And we did say, we called as well that this would be a good opportunity for him. And he banked on the opportunity. He did great. I think this year he's even taken the next step forward. I think the main thing that's going on for him is that Jonathan Isaac is going to be out, unfortunately, for the season. So Markelle Fultz is going to have more of an opportunity to run the offense, more touches. And he's not playing behind DJ Augustine anymore either, another veteran guy that left to the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think he's going to have even more opportunity this season. And then not to mention the fact that he has a good small big pairing with him and Nikola Vucevic, yeah. And then Aaron Gordon, who, we've had our criticisms of Aaron Gordon. But on his part, when Jonathan Isaac's not there, he plays pretty good as well.
I mean that makes sense because considering they basically play the same position. But moving it back to Markelle Fultz, I have been just waiting for this guy to finally come back to the level that I hoped he'd be at. Like, I loved him coming out of college, and that's why I wasn't concerned when he was a number one overall pick in his draft year. Maybe not over Jason Tatum, because I didn't expect Tatum to be that great.
Boston finessed Philly.
They finessed. But Fultz is not a bad player, and I never thought he was going to be. I think the injury or whatever that was coming out of college really screwed him up. But you're seeing it now. He's always been more of a slasher rather than and a creator rather than a shooter. But the jump shot's coming every year that he's been in the league. His jump shot has improved, and now you can see he's averaging 18 points a game, 6 assists. He's shooting about 30% from three, which still isn't great, but you know what? It's better than the 27% that he shot a couple years ago. So, and he's taking more. His jump shot he looks more confident shooting the ball. Markelle Fultz looks better. And if you know what, on a team like Orlando, we said it. Orlando needed a point guard desperately. You have your young point guard now.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz.
I think the main thing with him is that for him, he knows he's done it in terms of jump shot. He's done it before. He did it in college.
He was a good shooter in college.
He was a good shooter in college. He's done it before. It's just whatever the issue is, he just needs to be able to get over that. I think slowly we're seeing it, right? Especially last year, I think the one thing that really impressed us was, despite the fact that his shoulder was clearly still messed up and his jump shot was still messed up, he wasn't afraid to take it, right?
Yeah.
Compared to a guy like,
and that's important.
Not to throw Ben Simmons under the bus, but
he hit a 3 today, yo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like when you hit a 3 and it's news, that's when you know you don't shoot threes, man.
Yeah, like that's the main thing about Markelle Fultz, right? He wasn't scared to take those shots. Yeah. So I think that really bodes well for him in his favor.
Yeah.
In terms of who we're picking as the most improved player this year, I mean, I might have influenced it a bit, but. We're going Christian Wood, man. My guy, Christian Wood.
Christian Wood. Just out of these three guys, I just think he's gonna have the best year out of these three guys. He's playing like he's on a lot better team than any of these two, with better talent, and he's showing out, man. The guy's balling.
Not to mention he is a bit older than these other guys as well. So he does have a bit more experience under his belt.
He was undrafted, right?
Yeah, he was undrafted.
So an undrafted guy versus two guys that were drafted in the lottery.
I mean, he bounced around a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But, he does have a bit more experience than the other two guys. And not to mention the fact that, again, he's on a good team. He has good playmakers alongside him that will feed him the ball. And compared to these other two guys, he's probably a better defender. Well, he's better than Collin Sexton. Markelle Fultz, I think, is a decent defender for where he's at right now. But Christian Wood is clearly the better defender.
He's the better player out of these guys, and we think he's going to have the best year out of these three players.